All right, we come to have a conversation today about some of the current events that are happening. Um, it's a lot going on, things happening in our environment. Artificial intelligence is really taking its toll on us to where we're really starting to depend on it. And but we want to get into some conversations. But this being a Christian podcast, um, we want to we give our testimony of salvation, what we believe. Um, so this is my friend Ray Flores. We've been knowing each other for a little bit, about 5 years.
It's been, I think it's been more like 10,
It,
maybe 15. I guess we're not that good of friends.
I think I feel more
No,
comfortable.
actually,
Yeah.
sure.
I'll feel more comfortable borrowing money from you if it was that long. About 50 grand out, that wouldn't be too much.
Oh, I think I got a
Really? No.
No, absolutely. Yes. Yes. I have a firstborn for you, too.
Yeah. So, want to get into, man, when Christ came into your life, like what put you in position to give the answer to that, how you responded to him?
I will say it's it's a little more nuanced for me than I suppose a typical Christian. You always hear about, I put my salvation birthday in my Bible. You hear that from a lot of people and things. And
Yeah.
I don't really have a story like that because I had an aunt. She was a Pentecostal, and she's still around. I mean, she's a lovely woman. She's great. Been a spiritual teacher to me pretty much all my life. But she's Pentecostal. She does the tie my bow tie, tie my bow tie. She does that. And all due respect, I love her and she's great, but she knows where I'm at and she knows what we believe. But she's all in it and that's cool. But she taught me a lot about the Bible. She got me interested in asking questions. And from when I was young up until maybe when I was a teenager, I followed that path and then I sort of fell off and, I followed the life of crime and maybe not really, but, it could have been better for me. As I grew into adulthood and into eventually marriage and having children, I started thinking, well, I have to provide a spiritual grounding for my children. I knew that much. And so when I was in Germany with my my first daughter had just been born, and I was in Germany, and I got I guess the Lord sort of was like, hey, you need to come on with this. You got a family now. It's not just you. And so that made a lot of sense to me. We went to a church, and since then we've been following the more fundamental route, which makes sense because that's what our regulation is the Bible.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's some people who come under conviction or they are approached with a choice of, faith, religion, but they struggle with it because there is accountability when you come to Christ. Like, it's not like, just do the best you can. We actually have a father, a creator who holds us accountable and has an expectation, even though the grace part is Christ himself, where we can't live up to that. His righteousness is imputed to us. Well, some people, they're self-righteous and they can't accept somebody else doing the work for them. So I think that is something in this world that we deal with in accepting Christ. But, I had I didn't have children when I was in the military, but I came to a place. This was just before I was getting ready to get out. I felt under strong conviction. And I'm not saying that there wasn't a fight or a war. I didn't fall after that. But I began to realize and really I had a more understanding of the expectation of living a Christian life. And baptism that's not your ticket in. That's just us following the representation of our transition from the old life into the new.
Right.
And I began to learn that. But so you go into the military, what encouraged you to do that? Like, 'cause that's a life-changing decision, like, coming from a place like if there is like a lot of crime around where you grew up, different friends that they're not gonna go. You still want to keep your friends, but you're giving up everything when you do that.
Well,
So,
hmm. Just trying to think how deep down the rabbit hole I should go.
yeah, go ahead.
I will mention. All right, I'll just be transparent. So as I was growing up, um, I had a very leftist leaning. So I thought everybody was out to get us, white people, black people, even them Asians probably, who knows, everybody's out to get the Mexican. And I was so just, my ideology was rooted into my race, just like today we see that everywhere.
Yeah,
And, just an aside, since then I've noticed, that everybody yearns for this, this identity, and everybody wants to be part of a group or a tribe, and while at the same time ignoring what Jesus Christ could provide for you, all those things. An identity in Christ is the best thing ever.
yeah.
Look at me and you look nothing alike. We don't come from anywhere. You're not even a Texan. You are now.
Nah,
I'm sorry. Don't hit me. But you are now, and God bless it. But yeah, our backgrounds are completely different. We don't. Nothing is the same besides our love for Jesus Christ and our need for evangelizing the lost and talking about, how Christ can provide those things for you. So, it's just an examination that I've kind of realized as time went on that people need this yearning for an identity, but Jesus Christ could give that to you if you allow it. But no, we can't allow that. And even then, something else you brought up was, this idea that, what was it you were saying, that it might be too easy, or there always seems to be a certain thing that we need to get to, a baptism, a certain prayer, a magic prayer that we need to say to get to the threshold
Yeah.
of salvation. And I think a lot of times people just don't understand that, because God is the perfect Father, the ultimate Father. That there aren't any conditions, there isn't anything you need to do. You just need to accept that Jesus Christ died for you and that He paid for those sins for you. And that from then on, your duty is to live for Him, in thankfulness and gratitude and things like that. But especially in this society today, a lot of people don't have a good example of what a father is. So what can you expect from somebody that comes from, a demoralized society
Yeah.
than that, But anyway, going back to your question, I kind of went on a rabbit trail there.
You good.
What got me into that was, 9/11 happened. And again, back then I wasn't a big fan of anybody. Probably not even myself, the United States. Oh, I could, United States is so bad, all this stuff. Come on.
Yeah.
So, but I did see that 9/11 happened, and that shook me to the core, because this is where I live, suddenly it became important. And, I don't know, I think as time went on, I was away from the world, not the world that I grew up in. I had moved away from there. And, it's just sort of a funny story that, I was with my girlfriend at the time, who's my wife now. Thank God for her. But, she's always been the one to sort of push me into uncomfortable situations for my betterment. And that's essentially what happened here. Long story short, is if it wasn't for her, I probably would have dragged my feet. I probably would have backed out. Um, cause you know how men are, we fall into we just go into a decision, and we're just like, yeah, I'm gonna do that,
Yeah.
but it might be a good idea, it might not, but I didn't evaluate any of it. I just knew that what I was doing at that time, it wasn't acceptable for the rest of my life. So what was I going to do? And so, yeah, long story short, she's the one that pushed me into it, essentially, not necessarily the Army, but into something better, because I realized there needs to be something else more than, at the time I was working at FedEx. There needs to be something more than the 4 hours I'm working at FedEx.
Yeah.
This isn't it. So, and that's what happened.
Yeah. I remember the day that happened. That was actually my sophomore year of high school when that happened. And I didn't know what happened. All I know is parents were coming to pick up their kids. The juniors and seniors, they were hopping in their cars and just going home. But I was kind of the same. I was, I guess, conditioned in a way by media that, you
100%.
know, our president was not a sensible guy.
Mhm.
You know, me being a minority, being a black guy, I grew up in a black neighborhood, and it was like, you know, no, we're all out for ourselves. If we achieve anything, it's going to be because, you know, we help ourselves or help each other. When even helping each other wasn't that prevalent. You know, we were beating each other up. And,
Yeah.
you know, it was all kind of things going on. But I tried to avoid it because of like I saw a lot of what happened in Fallujah,
Hmm.
and it was like, well, I don't want that. Well, I tried to do the college thing. I went to community college in like I think '05, '06 or '05. I was trying to run from it, and you know, I had good grades, but I ran out of money paying for it. Financial aid wasn't enough. So late 2006, I said, you know, I'm gonna go to the military. I need to do something, and you know, I became more aware that hey, I'm an American
Hmm.
too. Like, and I saw the things that they were going through. The Pat Tillman situation.
Hmm.
That was because I being a football fan. That's when it caught my attention.
That
Like,
hit hard.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah. I think for me it was, you know, maybe after the towers fell, you saw New York come together, and for me that was electric. I was like, wow, that's pretty cool.
yeah,
You know, I thought these people were rude and hated each other. Well, they do, but not right now, you know.
yeah, 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 yeah.
I don't know if that's
Yeah.
true or not. I've never been to New York. Just
For a little bit of
cat.
time. Like, I mean, after that, the racism and like everything, it kind of
Yep.
dissipated. And then something happened and it reminded us all that we're all different. And then now, I mean, like, I don't see how we got into the race war that we're in right now. It's pretty crazy.
Oh, I do.
Yeah,
Yeah, I do.
yeah, yeah,
I do.
yeah.
But I'm still in the army, so I can't tell you too much yet.
Nah, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sick.
Yeah.
Keep,
Yeah. Well, no. I just can't talk negatively about any president, you know. Even though all presidents are good, you know.
I mean,
But you know, it could be due to a president.
do we hold him more accountable than we hold ourselves as
No,
citizens?
but I think climate is driven by uh charisma, or it can be driven by charisma. And this can happen in any organization where they're led by a certain person. I mean, it's gonna happen in let's say a club or a school, even a
Yeah,
church, a country as a whole.
yeah,
And the more, I guess, the more following a person has. I mean, you can even say that about President Trump. You know, the more following a person has, the more sort of, I guess, they can drive thought processes. You know, there's nothing necessarily, there isn't anything inherently wrong about that. I think there needs to be examination of principles and the things that we follow, I think. But yeah, I think that's where, honestly, I think the statistics would reflect that also. I think it would, you know, if we do a little bit of research on why those things might happen, I think that's where it'll point to.
yeah, yeah, no doubt. I don't know, we've gotten ourselves as a nation into a hard situation. We just had the Carmelo Anthony situation, and there's the young man now, uh, Nolan. I
Mhm.
can't remember his last name. I'm sorry, but
It's not
um,
Ryan. I
no,
know that one.
no, yeah, no, not him. But yeah, we got all these situations, and the race baiters
Mm.
seem to be eating it all up. Like they're the first ones to the table on it. So it pretty much, I think it spoils the whole, I guess the image or mindset that we should have going into it. The way these circumstances are introduced after they happen, not it's automatically a race thing. Now, I think like even if it is, let the evidence prove that.
Yeah.
Like instead of us just jump to that conclusion.
Hmm.
And but yeah, I really do hope that something or someone comes along and kind of changes that to where we can see one another as a community, without a racist mindset, excuse me, jumping off from the start, you know. But I don't know, other than that,
I
man,
kind of see that happening though. You see a lot of, I mean, the highlight is black, right? You see a lot of conservative black people that are coming out, a lot of which used to be, leftist or left leaning or Democrat, however it is they want to describe themselves, but they definitely weren't, MAGA Republicans following Trump and all this kind of stuff. And,
yeah,
these labels sort of, they can be inaccurate because what happens is, make America great again. Let's say a MAGA Republican is labeled a certain type of way. Well, what does this person want to do? He just wants the country to go back to normalcy, whatever normalcy could be. But then, thrown into the pot is a lot of people that use that as a pejorative. So then it becomes something that it wasn't. So same with Democrat. I think an accurate label is leftist, but because left leaning leftist is it's a title that they themselves would adopt also, and those are pretty hard and fast principles as far as defining that group. But you have like your Terrence Williams and your Candace Owens, obviously, your Red Pill Brown Girl. I don't know if you ever heard of her. God Logic. I mean, these are. I mean, I have a whole list of them. I could just come from the head with. But it's interesting to me that or minorities or conservative people are coming out of the woodwork that aren't white, because if they're white, it seems like they don't have any authority when it comes to speaking about race issues, and a lot of times they're even timid about speaking about them because they don't have the authority. When everybody does have the authority, if they have a rational mind,
no doubt.
and it's not fair to exclude a certain sect of society for what they deem is obvious, which can be obvious if we just look at it.
Yeah,
But it's not considered unless you're a minority, and even then, what do you become? You become all the best racial stereotypes that they can think of. Your Uncle Tom's, and it just goes down this ugly rabbit hole of just ugly words that they call people that don't align with them, that happen to be the same skin color they are. It's not fair, and it's a way to poison the well.
yeah. It makes me wonder, like, if it wasn't for the derogatory terms, that more people would be more urgent to speak up, but we just, I think a lot of people are into, like, you just want to avoid conflict. You can disagree with the left, but you're not gonna voice that because the pushback, you just, like, I just want to go to work, feed my family and just leave me alone. But I think that is the reason why there are so many things that have, I guess, overcome us. The things like there should be no, like, I haven't heard anything as of late, but like the whole, all right, this transgender thing where people who are born men and transition to a woman, now they can
So
participate.
real women is what you mean. I'm kidding.
Now they be born.
Yeah.
But why is that
Mm.
controversial? Like, why is that in our, like, that's common sense. But here we are having these conversations, and it's basically been forced down our throats to where we see these things taking place. I remember, what was it, the last Olympics, where that, I guess the image of still looked like a man to me, but participating in women's boxing, and he beat that girl up.
Yeah, badly.
Yeah, he should have went to jail.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But when there's an agenda, inclusivity is really becoming, it's excessive now, to where we just, whatever you want to do it. Like,
it becomes a catch-22.
Yeah.
Because you have Title 19, right? What was that for? That was to protect women in sports.
Yeah.
So you have the trans movement that then gets lumped into this thing because they are women, which they aren't, because biologically, not just genitals, which is what everybody focuses on. No one talks about bone density, heart valve size, your lung size, lung capacity, O2 amounts in your blood, and all this kind of stuff. No one talks about these things. Everybody focuses on what the obvious would be. These other things are obvious as well, but I think again, the poison of well is to say, well, all you're concerned about is what's underneath the clothes. No, because what you're doing now is you're focusing the conversation on something that's a little embarrassing, and that, maybe somebody like a Christian wouldn't dive into,
Yeah.
so then it shuts down the conversation. So then it silences people so that they can continue on whatever agenda it is that they want to do,
Yeah.
and it's just a catch-22. It's kind of like green energy. You have green energy that purports to save the world with green practices, which in theory, sure, is fine, you know. But you have green energy that is actually detrimental to the environment, in its practices, for a small amount of output, which is crazy to me,
Yeah.
But it's like that with the gender movement. It's just, you're saying you're adopting one thing to help a certain group, but then you're excluding the other group that was initially what it was intended for in the first place.
Yeah.
It's not right, and if you say anything about that, well, suddenly you're all the words, you're all the ists, you're sexist, if they happen to be from another country, you're a xenophobist.
Yeah.
I don't know, whatever, all these other words that they have, instead of saying, well, does he have a point? Let's examine those points, on the merits of what he's saying,
Yeah.
on those principles. But, to me, I think anybody that knows me, I don't avoid conflict. I don't. I go right into it, and we'll just see how it goes. I mean, if I'm wrong, I could be wrong. And then we've had a lot of these conversations, but I am not one of those that avoids conflict,
Yeah. Yeah. I
for
don't.
better or worse,
Yeah. Yeah. I think it, not to sound sexist, but I think a man shouldn't be that way anyway. That's just my personal opinion. Because we are wired to protect. So why would we back down when conflict is imminent? Um, you've deployed, right? So you've seen things that a lot of people have not seen. So that affects the way we think too. Like after that first experience, my first deployment, I went to Ramadi.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it was still bad, and I was, and I had just graduated basic training like 3 months prior to that.
Mm-hmm.
So I got thrown in the mix. They didn't just leave me in Kuwait or send me there. Yeah, but I saw things that I was not prepared for. Like it's not like the movies where, that stuff is happening. Like it's maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours, and then it's done.
It's
The
over,
credits
yeah.
roll. No, when it's happening, it continues on, and you're there for, like we did 15 months. I think you had to do the same. So you're there for a year. I understand we get R&R for a few weeks, maybe a month, but you go right back into it.
Go right back in.
Yeah. And so it gets, going into conflict is, I think, conditioning for that has to take place.
Mm-hmm.
I understand, like being wired and I get all that, but there's still preparation that has to take place where you have exercised to apply that attitude.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, man, I want to ask you. So we're in conflict with Iran. I'm not completely sure where we fall with Israel in this situation, because there are some things that they want to do, and the U.S. is like, no, don't do this, allow this to happen. But if they don't defend themselves, they're going to continue to take loss. And so I don't know, what is your take on where we are in that situation at this point? Because we can't keep letting them do stuff, because we're next. Yeah, because they call us, what, Israel is Satan, and we're, as Americans,
The big Satan.
Big Satan.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
they really don't like us.
Right.
So
as far as the Iran situation goes, I was following it pretty closely at the beginning. But as of right now, I kind of just let it go to the back of the mind, because it's going to happen. but this is something I do know, that there's a lot of, and I hate this word sometimes, is nuance. There's a lot of nuance, but there are layers, just like Shrek said. There's a lot of layers to things, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of layers to things, like a parfait. And um, so like I had somebody speaking to me on socials about how it's all the Jews. It's the Jews. Everything's the Jews, and it's like, okay, well, what makes you say that? Well, because they have AIPAC is doing this and that. Okay, just for the record, AIPAC should be a terrorist organization, right? Now, AIPAC is run by Jews, but that doesn't mean it's all the Jews. On the same token, a lot of Christians, they tend to side with Israel for Israel's sake. But if we go to Israel, from what I understand, I mean, they've been known to spit on Christians, and a lot of them are paganistic or just don't believe in God at all. And it's a lot of, you have to consider this, consider that, consider what the Bible says about certain things, and where it speaks, to speak and reflect on it accurately, not on what you would like it to say or what you've been told that it actually says, without you actually reading and studying into it. It's a problem that Christians in particular have. It's important, and more important, I think, for us, because we're believers. It's important for everybody else, because I mean, they should know what's real, but they have no grounding on anything other than their emotions. So I wish I could give you more meat on Iran by itself. Like I said at the beginning, I was in it. I was like, I wasn't not for it. I'm not saying I'm for war, not at all. I'm not saying that, but there's reasons why things happen. There's reasons why things happen, and a lot of times we see things from one angle, and that's it. President Trump's a devil. Stop. Is that really true? I mean, come on. It could be, but is it? Let's examine those statements on their merits, on the principles that you're bringing forward. Bring me an argument and tell me why.
Yeah.
People can't do that, and I think a lot of times that art is hidden on it. It's lost now. We have this social media. Just I don't know what it is. It's a 15-second attention span. I don't know what it is.
Yeah. I stopped reading and doing research because it just seemed like I didn't know what to believe, because I'm not there. I'm not there to, talk to the leaders or the citizens there who are going like, they're blowing up their own people.
Yeah.
So how does that make them look? And they don't care. They don't even like themselves. They're willing to, I guess, could commit national suicide.
Yeah.
But
there it is. That's an example right there. Not to go against you, but let's consider that. I mean, they don't even like themselves. It's not a wrong statement, but which ones are we talking about? Because if we mean the citizens, a lot of the citizens, they actually love the United States, but it's the leadership, obviously, because they want to keep their positions, that don't, and so they're willing to sacrifice anything to make, to keep what they have going,
Yeah.
And that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. So I think that's where I miscalculated, or not. I failed to mention is, like, I understand there's a difference between the citizens and the government. So, and it's the government that is setting all these plans to eliminate, and that's pretty much their mindset. If you're not with us, you don't deserve to even live. So, I don't know. I guess at this point we let it play out, or just see what happens. It's kind of sad to say that, but
we do have to look at things as comprehensively as we can. Like, if we consider Israel, they'll say Israel's they're genocidal and all these buzzwords. Are they really, though? Because from what I've seen is a lot of people that aren't even Jewish or Israeli or anything, none of that background, they come and live in that country and they live happily, and there's a place for them. Whereas in a lot of Muslim dominated countries, there's actual TV shows dedicated to propaganda on how to kill the Jews, or Israel, how to eliminate Israel from the map. I mean, you can see these things, and these are put out by government networks.
Yeah.
you know, but Israel's the bad guy.
Yeah.
I'm not saying Israel isn't, but I'm also not saying Israel is. There's come on,
Yeah.
you know, you have university professors that are Muslim there, you know.
Hmm.
I mean, come on.
I think it gets to a point to where it's kind of like with the U.S., we have to care about ourselves first
Yes.
before, and I think this is what Israel is doing as well. And if our plan is not convenient for someone else's plan, then that makes us bad or them bad or whatever. And when it gets to that high of a level, I don't know what I would say the answer is, because sometimes it's just not an answer. It's just that line drawn, and somebody's just gonna have to hurt. And I think for a long time now, that's what we've been seeing.
And even something that I agree on like that, I agree that we should be America first, that we should look after our interests first.
Yeah.
Um, we do have to consider also that having allies in other places such as Israel, that's the only oasis in that cesspool of that area.
Yeah.
Not a cesspool because of the people, but because of the governments that are running those countries and those areas. You know, do you want to give that up?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't know. There's a lot of stuff that people just don't talk about, especially in the media. You know, like the whole Ukraine and the whole Russia Ukraine thing. You know, is Putin really the devil, or is there a tactical reason? Is there a tactical reason for the whole Ukraine? No one's ever talked about that, but it's something I've been considering for a long time. It's like, who's going to mention these things? There might be a reason. Is he really just trying to go over there and eradicate people, or is there a tactical edge to this?
Yeah.
There's a tactical edge to it. There is. Whether we like it or not, we don't have to like it, but there has to be something that must be examined from Russia or Putin's point of view. Why would these things be happening?
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Another thing that's going on that we are dealing with are these data centers
Mm-hmm.
going up. So I had a job dispatch. You know, I drive a truck delivering gravel to these different locations. There's a data center right now being built in Abilene, Texas. I was not aware of that before I went out there to do that job that day. And what I hear about these data centers, it's not all good.
Mm-hmm.
And we're facing, I mean, even to where our political figures in our local communities, they have no idea that they're even doing this stuff until it's already in motion being done. And so what do you think the reason for that, like this covert plan to build these data centers in our areas? Like, is it there an agenda? Is there's an intention to kind of help where we are now in our technological advancements, or the bad things realized about this stuff and they just don't care? So what's your take on that?
I don't want to volley it back to you, but what do you think? Like, what do you think it is? Do you think, do you have an idea of of some kind of nefarious activities or, because I'll tell you that with politicians, maybe it gets underneath their eyesight. Maybe a couple of reasons. Maybe because they're doing that look the other way thing. You know, like if you're at the DFAC, you get an extra pound cake. Nobody saw you, you know, because you hooked them up with something
Yeah.
before. But is it something like that? Is it you scratch my back, so I'm just going to look away? It might be, but also I think that some of these maybe the things that would prevent AI data centers from happening or whatever, because it's all this stuff is new. There isn't anything to stop them because there isn't anything written yet to combat
Yeah.
those things. I don't know, but what do you like? What do you think is might be going on?
So what you mentioned as if they're kind of intentionally turning a blind eye, I hadn't thought of that, but yeah, it makes sense now that you mention it. That is very possible that could be what's going on. Because how could a project that large get under their noses like that? That hadn't crossed my mind. Uh, Maybe there is some kickback, as you know, because they're saying like, hey, these data
Mhm.
centers are going to be very productive. and we see where AI is taking over everything. Um, and but is it worth it? Like the dangers that come with it, is it worth the risks? And I just don't think so, because people are having to uproot their lives, their homes, where they live, and they have to give it up for somebody else's plan. Uh, uh, the environment is being contaminated as a result of these things, and it's just really not safe. And I don't think that these data centers have to be, I don't think they have to be placed. Not only that, our agriculture, is being affected as well. It's not just the human body, directly. It's the things that we need to use to live.
Catch-22.
Yeah.
Catch-22, we're going to save this thing that's going to kill you to save you.
Yeah. You put it like that.
Trust us.
Yeah.
We're the government. We're here to help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But who speaks up for us?
The way our system is set up is for the people to speak for the people, right? But I think we've been conditioned these days to stay quiet, especially on the things that we don't know about. So you might say, I disagree to this thing, and it might make sense to disagree for it, but because you don't know enough about it to continue to argue past that point, people are afraid that someone is going to highlight that and say, well, who are you? You don't know anything. And that's true. So maybe I shouldn't say anything at all, and a lot of conservatives are like that, well, I'm not political. I just stay out of that. Oh, so you want to sit on the fence. And one of my sayings that I say is, you sit on the fence and you stay out of politics until the government steps on your tail. Suddenly you care, but it's too late.
Yeah.
By that point. And I don't think enough conservatives or Christians have a voice enough to, let's say, run for government or even to vote, honestly. But when you hear run for government, everybody thinks senators and government, and not government, governors and things like that. But there's many levels to government that you can participate in. Your school board and the city library and things like that. I mean, all those positions are run primarily by leftists. You know why? Because they're the ones that are loud and they care and they go out there and they march and they don't have jobs, so they have plenty of time to do it.
Yeah.
Understandably, we have jobs and we normally have families and things that occupy our time, but this is very important for your kids and your future generations. If you don't want those things to happen. But at the same time, this is sort of the wave of the future. AI and automation, it's coming. It's already here, and it's just going to get better. And if, I don't know, we can't not jump on board that. It's too late.
Yeah.
And there's no way to reverse it. It's kind of like the atomic bomb, you can't put the genie back in the bottle.
Yeah, I also think it's discouraging when, like you said, it's for the people to speak up. Well, when the people speak up, it only gets postponed. It's gonna happen. You're not stopping this. Yeah. But we'll, say 20 months, 25 months or so, and, we'll pause operation. But after that, this is gonna happen, because look how much money is generated. Look at how much do you think they have for lawyers, and you're gonna, and the common citizen is gonna combat that. Like, it's like they're kind of toying with us in a sense. Like, you know what I mean? We're gonna let you think that you're winning.
Who's gonna donate for our lawyers?
Yeah.
Everything costs money.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
And they already have the popular vote, with lefties and things like that. That seems like if a conservative fights for something, they immediately go against the other thing that you don't agree with. And it's like, this is bad for you too, Mr. Lefty. Yeah, I don't care, but you don't like it, so I like it.
Yeah.
That's so childish, but all right, yeah.
Yeah.
It's what do you do? What do you do about that? How do you combat that? I don't know.
Yeah, I'll let you know when I figure it out. Yeah. It's pretty rough. But yeah, man, I think we had a good conversation. You want to come back and visit again?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we should. I think there's a whole lot more to say, and we've had conversations about other things that we didn't even touch on today. I think it'll be really good to touch on those things too.
Hmm.
But yeah, man, we're gonna end this conversation, and that was
You
that's
look
a lot
tired.
for that's a lot for me to that's a lot for me to think about, because there's some things that you said that I had not considered, and I think maybe I need to go back and kind of go back into seeing like what is the real plan, like are our government officials really for us the way we are made to think that they are, you know? So, but I don't know, man. Maybe the poor people, or people who are not the high contributors, I think I'm safe because I'm actually helping out with that data center, so I'm a contributor, so I'm safe.
You're one of them.
Yeah, I am. Maybe I'm I'm just kind of sneaking in. I'm really on the other side.
Yeah, the other side. Yeah,
I'm getting information.
Covert op.
Yeah, no doubt.
I see it.
But yeah, man, I definitely appreciate you coming on, man. We will revisit these things that you mentioned.
It was a pleasure. Yeah.
Yeah. I appreciate it, man.
Thank you.
Nice talking to you.
Nice
bro.
talking with you.
Thank you.
Yeah.